Hi, Jeremy. We can begin now. Okay. Um, Welcome everyone to this space. Welcome, Osbert. Welcome, Jeremy. We have a guest here. It's a bot actually. It's not a full human. It's a bot. It's taking the recording of those meetings. So for replay by others who were not available. Um, our our leader Apex will join us soon. He has some issues to tackle before he's coming up. So as the other Maxi and the rest. I think our speaker Jerome is ready. So just a brief prayer before we start. All right. Hi Jeremy, hope you're set. Hi Jeremy, hope you're set.
Can you hear me? I am.
All right. So just a brief prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, we're about to start this meeting. Thank you for this opportunity. Come and start with us in Jesus' name. Oh Lord, guide others that come here to join us safely. Make everything your sources. Impart your word to our speaker. Help him to give us. Oh, no, no. Help him to give us what you are sending to give us today. Uh, Give us success here in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So today this is our second meeting we are holding this year for the Let's Discuss. Our last meeting was on April 1st. That was for our family talk. I think we were up to a number of 37 people who attended and it was fun. So we also made recordings available for others who were not around. So today we are going to be speaking on the evolution of mobile designs. Is that the topic, Jeremy? I've forgotten the topic. I'll check again. Um, so we have a wonderful speaker here. He's one of us. You know, this guy has always been talking about wanting to speak about evolution of, wanting to speak about mobile app design and other things. But like it's only color designs we're talking about in the group. What did you call it? Color painting, right? Colored pictures rather. So you start immediately. You start immediately, and while you begin, I'll prompt the rest people to join in. Okay, over to you, Jeremy.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Um, Good evening. My name is Jeremy, and then I'll be talking on evolution of design for web and mobile app. Okay. You can connect with me on Jeremy 101. You can connect with me with Jeremy 101 or social media platform Jeremy 101. Okay. Um, I believe we all know my name. I'm Jeremy. These are my qualifications. These are my qualifications. I have a diploma in software engineering, a first degree. I'm a candidate for MSc. I'm also an ethical hacker. All my life it has been programming, programming, and programming. And up to date, I'm still programming. I also have a few experience when it comes to programming. I've worked for various companies, and so far so good. This is my 10th year as an active programmer, writing code, debugging code, testing codes for various companies for the last 10 years actively. Okay. Now, for this course, in order for you to be able to follow up with this talk, I think I like the word talk. In order for you to be able to follow up with this talk, the people, the student doesn't need any fundamental because I try as much as possible to avoid anything that is technical, as much as possible to avoid anything technical, just simple basics as far as designing of web is concerned. Okay. Now, at the end of this section, anybody who watched this video or anybody who is live right now, you should be able to understand what the early websites look like. As in those when web technology came to play, how we normally design those days or how they normally design those days before I joined them, and then you'll be able to understand how this process has changed over time. Okay. Uh, I'm also assuming that majority of the people who will be attending this class already understand how to design for print, what I usually refer to as colored pictures. Okay, how to design for the difference between designing for print and designing for app. And then I'm going to introduce, just mention the names of the tools we normally use when we are designing for web or mobile apps. Okay, now the web, the World Wide Web, what people usually refer to as WWW, actually started in the 90s, early 90s, between 91 and 94. That is when these websites actually started. Okay, and what you can see on my screen right now is the very first web page, the very first website that was designed by anybody, and it was designed by oh, I don't have his name right now. Okay, so but this is the very first website that was designed. The only thing that we normally do is you see just test and link to test. Okay, so if you want to get a first-hand view of the very first website, you can visit this URL over here, info.sense.ch. If you follow this URL, they still preserve the very first web page for history purpose. So this is a link to the very first website that was ever designed. So what we normally have that time is just plain text with as you can see blue lines. Those blue lines are actually links that points to other documents or other sites. But this is the very first website that was developed, designed, and posted. So people who actually start coding in the 90s or designing in the 90s, between 91 and 96, this is all they have to offer. This is what it looks like. You can't do beyond or above this. Okay, this is what you can do. Maximum. If you're too good, you put some text and then some links. And after some time, between 96 and 2000, they introduced images. So you can have image on a website. Okay, you cannot have images on a website. So and this was what Amazon looked like at that time. This was what Amazon's website looked like at that time. So you can imagine browsing a site and seeing something like this. Okay, so this part that you can see here is an image. This part is an image, and these other parts are text. This was what it looks like at that time. But it was a very good development because at this time we cannot add image to our designs as far as web is concerned. As at this time, there was nothing like mobile application. There was nothing like mobile application. Okay, there was nothing like mobile application. We only have a web browser and a text reader. A text reader like a command line. What you see is black and white, only black and white, and it cannot render images. So as at this time, there was nothing like mobile applications. Okay, now the way we design as far as the web is concerned, we don't just design like I wake up, I want to design a website. You just start designing it. It's very beautiful. You put your image here, put your color there, and that. No, we have a body that tells us how we design. So that body is responsible for telling us how we design because um, um, the the software that will render your design, in our case as far as web is concerned, is the browser, the web browser. So the software that will render your design, the company or the body that is responsible for telling us how we are going to design, they bring that specification, and that software is built to that specification. So you as the designer or the developer, you are restricted to that specification, and that company is called W3C. Okay, World Wide Web Consortium, W3C. So they are in charge, they are responsible for how websites should be built. They are responsible for the standard as far as website is concerned. Okay, now when we want to build application, how it's actually happened is this: the World Wide Web Consortium, which we call W3C, they will come out with a standard. From now henceforth, this is how you will build a site. It comes as a concept. It comes as a concept, just a written paper. We call it white paper. They will just write it, write. Then they hand it over to people who produce web browser. Those people will now implement that recommendation on their web browser before you, as a designer, will design it. If you design anything outside that specification, the web browser will not be able to understand what you are designing. Okay, so after the battle of the early 90s, from the early 2000, I mean late 2000, the first design that came out was flat. It is called flat. And as you can see on my screen, this is an example of flat. Okay, everything is just flat. As at that time, there was nothing like shadow. There was nothing like shadow. It was just a plain flat. It is called flat. That's what we call it, flat design. I don't really know how to really um, how to really explain in details what why they call it flat. Okay, but it is flat because it is flat. No background shadow. Everything looks the same. Everything is box and square. Okay, and it was modeled after what we call the box model. So this is what the flat looked like. And Microsoft was the first. Microsoft was the first to implement flat design. Okay, now with the flat design, all the buttons on your web page or your application with the image, they look alike. Okay, now you will not be able to tell if this is an image or it is clickable. That was one problem that came with flat design. You will not be able to tell if this area, which area of the application is clickable. So if you want to navigate from one page to another, you won't know where to click or how to click, and that was a very big problem. So when people visit your site, they find it very, very difficult to navigate the site, and that was one big problem with flat. And this lasted for about 3 years, between 2008 2008 2013. That's about 5 years. It lasted. The flat design lasted that long. Okay, and the same body that is responsible for standardizing how web is designed, web page and mobile app are designed, they also went back to their drawing board and they came up with another concept, almost flat, which is called almost flat. I don't know if you can see this clearly, but this is called almost flat. Now, what almost flat does is they have to increase the brightness, increase the border, and then they add shadow, complex shadow to all elements so that you can be able to differentiate that this part is clickable, this part is active, this part is an image. So navigating the website or web application was more better than when it was flat. So the almost flat design can also be referred to as flat 2.0. You know, that's how we in software engineering, that is how we name versions of software: flat 1, flat 2.0, 2.5, 2. Whatever. That's how it is being named. Okay, now at this point after the almost flat, the ball was throw opened. It was throw open. So any company that has any, if you are a company and you are into producing of web browsers, you're into producing of web browsers. That's software that rendered web applications. The most popular one is web browsers. You can actually give us any design of your choice. Like this is my design. Apart from the one that the W3 schools, sorry, W3C proposed. Okay, so they made it open, and then different companies and organizations started bringing their own concept, but you must follow that same standard and specification. So no need for all the companies to be relying on W3C for their designs. Okay, then the center page design came out first after that declaration. All your text and image, they'll be at the center of the page. Okay, that's the center page design. That was what the one that came out first, and this design was proposed or propounded by um what's their name, WordPress. I think WordPress propounded this design. I think WordPress, this was their basic design, WordPress. Okay, so all your everything on your web page will be positioned at the center, and then this gave birth to single web page design. Okay, now Google also brought out their own design, material design. Google brought out material design also. Okay, so material design, they actually follow um, um, the paper and ink kind of, just like our in primary schools we have a cardboard paper. That cardboard paper, when we write or jot anything on our sticky note, we'll stick it to our cardboard paper. So as you can see, the back of this design here represents the cardboard paper. The back of this design here represents the cardboard paper, while the front here represents the sticky note. Okay, and then at this point we now have elements that overlapped themselves. When I say overlapped, if we go back to our flat design, you can see that for the flat design, all the elements, they are staying separately. Okay, whether being it an image or buttons, they are all staying separately, separate from everybody. This one is staying at its own lane, the other one is staying at its own lane. But when the material design was introduced, in, elements cannot overlap each other. When we say overlap, that means an element can be on top another element. Okay, it came with the material design in 2014, and this material design was propounded by Google. Yeah, Google. Okay, so and at this point, they don't call responsive web design. Okay, responsive web design is actually um, before the intervention of before the introduction of responsive web design. When we want to build web page or application, we first of all design for the web, then we will now design a separate app for the mobile phone, a separate app for your tablet, a separate app for your television. Okay, so for the same site, you will have like 5 to 10 different sets of code. It was very difficult to manage and maintain. It was very difficult to manage and maintain. But when responsive web design was introduced, it was not one for all. So if I design for a website based on the size of your screen or screen resolution, the site or the mobile app or whatever you've designed will adjust itself to fit your screen. So as you can see, this first one here behind the scene, that's how the material design will display on a PC. Then if you are using a tablet, it will adjust itself again to fit in the tablet. When you access this application with a mobile phone, it adjusts itself again to fit the mobile phone. Okay, so from this point, companies can now bring out their own techniques as far as design is concerned. We no longer wait for W3C to give us design, but you must follow W3C standard. If not, your design will not be rendered correctly by the web browser. Okay, then there is what we call mobile first design. Now, for mobile first design, before the mobile first concept came up, If we want to build any application, we first of all we build for PC. We build for PC, then we will look for ways to make it responsive so that if you visit the site on a tablet or a mobile phone, it will fit. If you visit the site on a tablet or a mobile phone, it will fit. Okay. Now, but with mobile first, we build for mobile phone first. So once you want to build, you build it so that it will fit the mobile phone first. It will fit the mobile phone first. Then you look for ways to see how other screen size will adjust to fit. The reason why we have to move to mobile first is these days, after 2015, with the introduction of Android devices, and they were now very cheap or very affordable. Let me use the word very affordable. Uh, Millions or billions of people, we have billions of mobile device, and the number of people who use the PC, they reduce drastically. So majority of the people who visit our application normally visit from a mobile app or mobile phones. So we had to shift from the usual PC first to mobile first, because the majority of people who visit our site will do so from a mobile device. So we put mobile phone into consideration first before all other screen size. So this is called a mobile first design. Okay, now let's quickly look at a few differences between designing for print and designing for app. And I believe I just I went to our platform and I took some pictures. Okay, now I think this picture over here, this first picture over here, you can't design a website like this. You can't design a website like this. This cannot be a website because for websites there must be clickable areas that will move you from one place to another. So this logo that is here, it is above every other thing, and there is no other corresponding element on the same line with it. So by so doing, we'll say you have destroyed the layout of the page. If you design a website and you want it to look like this first image that is here, and then you put the logo here or anywhere, and there is no corresponding element at the edge this way, we will assume you've destroyed the layout of the website. So this image cannot be a website. Even no matter how beautiful it is, you can't design for website like this. Same with this one, this beautiful image that I see here. Okay, this one also have uh, the same issue. When building for a web page, it must be aligned. Okay, it must be aligned so that it has the element has how will I say this? Okay, but just know that this one is not aligned. This part here, it's too much to the left, and this one is too much to the right. So therefore, you've destroyed the layout of the page. Okay. Now the same with this. Sorry, the same with this. Same with this. So these beautiful designs here, they are designs for print. They are designed for print, and they are very. It is very, 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 very different from design for web and mobile. Okay, and this one here, this one here, it can be a web app only for if you are building for children. If you are building an application for children, you can go with this. This one is manageable. Okay, this one is manageable, but the rest cannot be designed for the web. And with time, I'll show you the differences. Okay, now this is designed for web. This is designed for web, and with design for web, we normally go mobile first. So mobile first, that means we consider the mobile phone first. So this application here, privy post, I think this one It's developed or designed by me. Okay, this one is designed by me and my team. Okay, if you observe the edges, all the edges here, they are all aligned. Same with the edges at this point, they are all aligned. This is the logo here. This is the logo here at this point, and this is another corresponding element so that the layout will be maintained. If you remove this element here, you've destroyed the layout of the page. Okay, and when looking at this, you should be able to tell which areas are clickable, which areas are scrollable, which areas are how do you call it, not clickable. So this is another design for web application and web pages. Okay, and as you can see, even though the hero image span from the first edge to the last edge, you can see that all other elements they are aligned. This one here is the logo for this web page. There must be a corresponding element at the edge so that the layout will be maintained. Now this site here at the top is the same as this, but this is the mobile view. Even though everything at the header here, it has been compressed. It has been compressed here, but this is the logo, and there must be another corresponding element at this part so that the layout will be maintained. Okay. Now, um, the when designing a website, okay, when designing for web, uh, like I said, I am assuming that a majority of the persons that are on this live, is it live? Yes, on this talk right now, they are experts as far as design is concerned, or they already have the basic knowledge of design. So I witnessed a competition sometime last year organized by Creative Dev, where people have to design flyers and logos and some flyers like that. And the judge, they were now passing a constructive criticism, and I was observing. So I think I can remember um, some of the things I was hearing at that time. I think they will tell you, you fail to follow this principle, you fail to follow this principle, you fail to follow this principle before they declare the winner of that tournament. I don't know if you guys still remember. That was last year. Okay, so those principles that was used when the judges passed their judgment on those designed by the contestant, those are principles for designing for print. Okay, now when you are designing for web and mobile, the first thing we put into consideration is what we call heuristic and ergonomics. Now heuristic and ergonomics, what these two big grammar in a layman term, it means do not reinvent the wheel. Do not reinvent the wheel. You must build your web page so that knowledge from my previous experience, I can use it to operate your web page. Okay, that is why if you are able to operate Facebook very well, you should be able to operate Twitter without learning how to operate Twitter. If you're able to operate Instagram very well, you should be able to operate TikTok without learning how to operate TikTok. So that is what we call heuristic and economics. You use your knowledge that you have from previous applications or what you've done previously to be able to use this one. Okay, in a nutshell, do not reinvent the wheel. Don't do something we don't know before. If you take for instance a perfect example. Okay, now everybody who uses any application, I don't know if you can see this part, this extreme edge here. If you see this X sign in any application or all application you ever visit, it means close. This X sign means close. The minus sign that is here, it means minimize. So if you build an application, as far as this word is concerned, we keep building application, the X sign remains closed. So if I build an application and I make this X sign to be zoom in, I have confused anybody who will use my application. That means I did not follow the principle of economics and heuristics. Okay, the same thing applies to all other shapes. So if you want to use some certain features on your site, they must do the same thing that um, the that element does in the other app that the users have been using. Okay, now when you are building for web also, you must consider responsive. You must consider responsive. Okay, now when we say responsive, I actually explain responsive web design on my previous slide, where you write the code so that it will be able to adjust itself to fit different screen size and different screen resolution. Okay, well, I know when designing for print you don't consider responsive. Okay, I don't know. My boss here, they can help me this when designing something like this. Okay, I don't know if you consider how it will look on a mobile phone. Somebody should open your mic and tell me, please, when designing for things like this, do you consider how it looks on a mobile phone? Do you consider how it looks uh, on uh, on the computer? Do you consider how it looks on a tablet? Please, somebody should tell me. Anybody? Hello, anybody?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you. I can
Okay,
hear you.
I'll go first. Um, why is this thing bouncing? Okay, so when designing for our social media, um, we know we already have a plan down. Maybe we're designing for Instagram specifically. Instagram already have their layouts for their design, their resolutions, maybe 180 by 180 or 180 by 1350. So these are the layouts we follow. When I was looking at the organization I'm working at now, there's something we do know how to call it programmatic dimensions. You get it. So this is another level of graphic designing for social media and stuff. So one designer makes the design for social media, then another designer is then contacted to take that soft copy and make it a design for web. You get it for different programmatic web sizes. So I think that's what you are saying here. You say you have to consider the size. We design first for mobile, and it's the same principle entirely. I think design is one small word. Design first for mobile, which is social media, and then we contact another designer to then use different dimensions to make um their different designs, like for mobile, for web, and for other Twitter covers and stuff. So when we're designing here, we design with our destination in mind. We design our destination in mind.
All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate. Okay, so if I get what you are saying correctly, it means if you are designing, you are actually putting Facebook dimension in mind, Instagram dimension in mind, maybe Twitter and other like you said, majorly from what you said, you put the social media where you want to use it, their dimension in mind, right? Okay, now but if you are designing for the web, we don't consider Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and the rest. What we consider first, as far as responsive is concerned, we consider your screen size. Okay, how it will look on a laptop, irrespective of whether you are putting, how it will look on a laptop, how it will look on a mobile phone, how it will look on a tablet, how it will look on how do you call it, a TV screen. Okay, so those are what we consider as far as responsive web design is concerned. I think this mobile first here goes a long way to explain what we normally consider when designing an application or when designing for a web. Okay, and when I say design, we mean you are designing how a website will look like, not how a picture will look like. Okay, now when you are designing for print, okay, like this one, uh, maybe as at the time this one is being designed, Maybe the person, I'm just saying, maybe the person designed it based on, hey, he's going to upload it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Okay, we are going to print it out on with a printer, a very high colored printer. Okay, maybe the person designing this church, this second one, he was thinking, oh, they are going to print it on a harvest envelope. I don't know if that thing still exists. They are going to print it on A4 paper, cardboard paper. I think that's what. I'm not. I'm not an authority as far as designing for print media is concerned. I'm not an authority there. So whatever I'm saying right now is an assumption. Okay, but when it comes to designing for web and mobile, when I'm saying fact. So those are what we consider as far as responsive is concerned. Now another thing you also consider is trend. So I believe everybody on this platform, if you pay somebody money to build a website for your company and the person comes up with something like this, I don't believe you will take this. I know nobody will accept this as a website, but this was accepted as the very first website that was designed. So this was the design, and it was accepted like this, and they were very happy. You understand? Then after about 6 7 years, somebody designed this for Amazon, and Amazon was very happy accepting this. Are you getting it? So nowadays, if somebody design this kind of site like today, 2023, somebody design a site like this, nobody will look at it for the second time. Nobody will browse this kind of a site because it dey pain for eye. When you look at it, it's painful as far if you look it with your eye, it's painful. Okay, very awkward like this. But as of 2000, 2001, Amazon was very happy to have something like this as their website. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is, as far as design trend is concerned, we look how they take like how do you construct sites currently. How do you construct site? What does site looks like currently? What does site looks like um, um, uh, right now, this 2020 2023? How do people design website? Which trend? What do they follow? What do they look at? Okay, like before building this privy post, this one here, we actually looked at about 7 app that does the same thing. Example, opay, we looked at opay, we looked at use it, we looked at palmpay. We will look at app that does the same thing. We will now decide that, okay, this is how this kind of app is being developed. You understand? Why we are putting those into consideration is because of, as far as even though we call it design trend, that will also help for heuristic and economics, so that anybody who can operate the opay app can also operate the palmpay app with ease. And if we build any app for you, the person will be able to operate it with ease. So his or her knowledge from opay and palmpay, we enable the person to operate this one without going to learn how to operate this one. Okay, so they go hand in hand. So we check the design trend currently. How do they design things like this? 7 years ago, 10 years ago, this was not how it looks like. If you design, where is this center align? When center align, this page center align came, it was magnificent. Everybody was happy. If you design yourself like this, it will be very nice. Everybody wants to see it. But today, if you design it like this, nobody wants to even look it, because we've gone the trend has gone past this kind of design. And even the people who propounded this design, WordPress, they have even gone beyond this design. They don't even use the center align again. You understand me? So when you want to design for uh, for web, you also consider the current trend. And lastly, not lastly, okay, lastly on my list is the W3 standard. You cannot, as far as web is concerned, you cannot design without following this standard as far as web is concerned, because if you go outside the W3 standard, the 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 software that will render your design, the software that will render your design will not understand what you design. If you go outside the W3 standard, the software that will render your design will not understand it. So example is example of a software, or the most popular software that renders design as far as web and mobile is concerned, is the web browser. Okay, and this is Google Chrome. Most people use Google Chrome. Okay, whether Google Chrome, Netscape Navigator, Safari, Apple Mozilla Firefox, which design. You must
I hear
follow
you.
W3C standard. Else, those browsers will not be able to understand your design and they will render it in such a way that it's not what you intend. Okay, and then I actually brought out four most popular UI UX tools. So the reason why I am listing this here is to tell you something. Those people, anybody who can design something like this, uh, automatically, automatically you are already a UI UX designer. We call it user interface and user experience. That's what we mean by UI UX. User interface and user experience. User interface actually deals with what your website, what it will look like, your mobile app, what it will look like. That is called user interface. Now, the user experience is the feel when I'm using your app. How do I feel when I'm using your app? That's what we call user experience. But from our creative group, it's a creative dev group. You know what I'm referring to, creative community on WhatsApp. I see people drop image on daily basis. They will write CNC so that people will give them constructive criticism. You understand? Now, those people, they don't really know that, most of them do, they don't know that if you can design for print, automatically you are already 80% a UI UX designer. That means you can actually be a front end, a UI UX developer, and also design for print. You understand? So forgive me if I'm not representing you guys well when I say design for print. Okay, so if you can design all these things, any of these five pictures you are seeing on my screen right now, automatically you can also design this for mobile application. Now the difference is the tools you are using. Okay, so some of you use I think some of you use a PZ Pro, Adobe Photoshop. Some use various tools to design something like this. But I'm very sorry, Adobe Photoshop cannot design something like this. Okay, Adobe Photoshop cannot design something like this. But thank God for heuristic and ergonomics. The tools that will be used to design something like this, a mobile app like this, and a website like this, they also follow the concept of heuristic and ergonomics. That means if you can operate Photoshop, you can also operate Figma. You can also operate Figma. You can operate Figma. If you can operate Photoshop, you can also operate Figma. It is the same. Okay, Photoshop is the software, Figma is the software. The person who developed Photoshop came first before Figma was developed. Now, while developing Figma, they looked at the position of some tools in Photoshop and placed that same tools at the same location in Figma. You understand? I am not a graphic designer. I'm a full-time back end developer, but I have knowledge as far as um, graphics designing for web is concerned, because most times I head the team, so I look at this interface. For instance, you have a pick 2. I think there's something called pick 2 in CorelDRAW, and that same pick 2 is also in Photoshop, and that same pick 2 is also in Figma. Okay, that same pick 2 is also in Figma, and the location of pick 2 in Photoshop is almost the same location of pick 2 in CorelDRAW, is almost the same location of pick 2 in Figma, and they all do the same thing. What pick 2 will do in Photoshop, that is what pick 2 will do in CorelDRAW, and that's what pick 2 will also do in Figma. Okay, so if you are already designing things like this, you can easily migrate to designing things like this by changing the software you are using. Okay, so you are a professional in Photoshop. I am recommending try Figma today. It is the same thing, but if you design the same thing with Figma, it's now a UX UI job, no longer for print, like this harvest photo. It's no longer for this harvest photo, or it's no longer a photo that you want to post on Facebook story or Facebook background or Facebook profile picture. No, it is now a full-blown website or a full-blown web application. So another tools is also Adobe S tools. We also have Sketch. And then we have USO. So these are just few tools that I picked out and that we use for US UI design. And I'll reiterate again why I brought out these tools is to let you know that if you are already designing things like this, automatically just open any of these tools and redesign this same thing, it will turn into a website or it will turn into a mobile application automatically. So if you are looking for a job and you are in creative dev community, do not be scared or afraid to apply for any job as a UX UI developer. The only thing you need is to learn one of these tools, and it is the same. If you can operate Photoshop, you can operate any of this. If you can operate CorelDRAW, you can operate any of this. They follow the same principle. The only difference is if you build with any of this, automatically you've developed a mobile application or a web application, just some few slight changes. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And don't forget, for this talk, I tried as much as possible to avoid anything technical, anything technical, so that I don't want to be saying programmatic things that are programming. Uh, so I tried to avoid anything that is technical. If you have any question, please you can ask.
All right, all right. Let me don't mind my echo. Reduce. Okay, so you were saying something about first of all, let us thank you for your giving us your time and everything, the energy you have put into this. Okay, so we have one question from let me check it now. Please, you can bring in your questions. So from Mavis OG, he said, "What about the back end of the design? Does the Figma also do it? Like, I mean, the website. Like, does Figma does back end of website? Because according to the knowledge of design we have, especially UI UX design and web design, we knew that we have the UI designers, which the people that use Figma, Adobe, LCD, and the other web design softwares. We know that those people they design the beauty of the software, and then it's led for the backend. People like you say you're a backend designer or backend developer rather, sorry. So it's led for you to follow the design of the front end designer or the interface designer. So what Marvin is asking now is what about the backend design, the backend of the design, which is a code that brings out the design. I know that there are different code languages like HTML, and the others. There are many others. And so Python and the others. So, what about the backend of the design? Does Figma also do it, which is the website design? Does Figma also do website design, the backend, which is the programming part? Does it? Oh, so I think he has an issue. He's not here. So I'll answer that question. Figma primarily is for. Hello, can you hear me? If you can hear me, just indicate. Figma primarily is for UI UX design, is UI design. So we use Figma as a designer to design the interface, the beauty of the design, how it will look like, and how it's mainly as a guide. Like you are the architect and the backend developer is the engineer, the builder. You get it. You are the architect, you draw the plans, and the backend developer is the builder. You get it. So that's the what Figma is primarily for. You design and leave everything for the backend developer. It does the coding. But I think with recent developments, we have sites like WordPress. WordPress does WordPress once it's like just like a drag and drop. You get it. So you just have to just include your blogs and make your blog and every other thing. So and automatically the coding is going on behind. You get it. So that's the one of the advantages we are getting from the upgrade in web hosting services now. You just drag and drop out your images and this and that, but the development is going on behind. So, but if you want to do something that's really custom, something of your own style and beauty, brother, you have to get a backend developer, a programmer. So, yeah, Figma is for user interface design, the beauty of the design, and it's all left for your backend developer to do the job. That's why sometimes you hear that this is actually funny, but you hear that what happen. They say good design with the developer, not fit code. Yeah, sometimes it happens like that because we designers, we user interface designers, we do a lot. We go extreme in interface designs, and you find the developer crying. Uh, um, WordPress is a web builder app. I can just give you a quick view here. Uh, Let me present. Okay. Uh, so WordPress. This is WordPress. Okay, they have to ask me to get the coding. Let me log in. I already have a Google account with WordPress before now. So, I think they're locking me out. So, WordPress is meaning like just like it's a web hosting platform. It works with Bluehost and the others. And so, it's just mainly for the development and hosting of your site. So, it's a website, not an application. Though it has the software version. Yeah. So, any other questions? Okay. Since there is none, there is also the stock of people being yeah. There's something I wanted to show our speaker before he left. Don't know what. Maybe he's having network issues. When it comes to designing for brands and what they do, I saw that example he made for a fintech app. He's supposed to be here now for this question. I saw that example he made for a fintech app, and is that a fintech app or it's a learning platform? And it was using Red. Red. I don't know. Do you guys really feel you should use Red for such a design? Because I was seeing the Red as something that was too popping, and it's not good on my for learning to me, because that was a learning platform they were designing. I wanted to ask him, because do they consider colors when they are designing? Do they consider colors? Because in design in general, you have to consider colors and the psychology behind it. So you cannot be doing a forestry app, a vegetation app, and be using red. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. You have to use your shades of green. So if he's actually using red for a learning app, I wanted to ask him what's the psychology behind it. I wanted to ask him what's the psychology behind, because I wasn't really seeing red as a good color for. Imagine this whole screen I'm seeing now, it's everything red. No more. It's painful to the eyes, very very painful, and it's painful to the brain. So I don't think that would be very considering for um a learning platform. A learning platform is supposed to be cool. You get it. We have examples for like let me see if I can log in my screen share. Okay. Um you can see my screen now. So this is a Skillshare. You can see this is Skillshare platform. It's a very cool platform with not even much of color here, just our black, our shade of black and our white. And you can see everything, the responsiveness, and it's very, very beautiful. You know what to click on and what not to click on. This place is here, it prompts you immediately to click on it because once you see an empty box like this, just like in exams, you know that once clicking on it or what you're supposed to do on it will give you a tick there, either a tick or a mark. So this is the user responsiveness. This is how we feel about all buttons and clickables in design. It was saying something like that about using a X mark. X mark is always denotes closing. I remember one time making a design and I just added the X mark as just as an extra. It has no function. But people came back to me and they were like, something is wrong with your design. No, it's not clicking. I was like, what's not clicking? They said the X mark. I was like, that X mark is nothing, no, it's just for a placeholder there. But they said no, that it has is having effect on the users. They are drawn to it, maybe don't to escape from something or close something. So um when designing for when you are making your UI UX designs or for your website development, you have to consider your client psychology. I don't know if you guys have read this book, The Design of Everyday Things. The Design of Everyday Things. Okay, Emmanuel wants to say something. Emmanuel, please come up.
Hello guys, can you hear me? Hello guys, can you hear me? Osbert, you can continue first. You can continue. Hello guys, can you hear me? Please react if you can hear me. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, good. Very good. I hope tonight's session has been great, has been lovely. My you guys should pardon me. I couldn't really be consistent in the meeting tonight because of the place where I am right now. My network here is not so very good. I had to change, I had to travel urgently, and then there are some circumstances on ground that were beyond my control. I hope you guys were enjoying tonight's session. I hope they drop some reactions. Let me see. Drop some reactions. Let me see. Hope tonight's session was amazing. So our speaker still on board. I wanted to address a few things, but I think I will allow Osbert to continue first, so that when he's done, I'll come online and somebody said I is better now. Okay. All right. So okay, great. I came late where I got something. Okay, great. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm very glad that we were able to, digest something from tonight's session. Where's Osbert? Osbert, please come online and finish up, round off what you were saying. Then I'll come back up and then I'll just speak a little bit and then we can call it a night. Osbert, where are you, please?
All right, I'm back. So there's a
Okay,
question
just
you're saying,
continue.
what if
Just
the brand's
continue.
color? Okay, like I mean UBA Bank is red. Yeah, UBA Bank is red, but have you seen their new mobile app? Like new UBA mobile app. It's not entirely red, it's dark. So red is a color that draws appetite. Do you want to be looking at your low bank balance and be hungry? Or that's just for fun. But actually, when you're making your design, know your client, like um the psychology of your clients. It all falls down to psychology. If you have read the book, The Design of Everyday Things, there's a part where they state about the affordability of your design. It doesn't mean that the design can buy something. It's how the affordance, how it affects, how it relates to how it relates to your viewers. You get it. So if you notice, for the UBA app, they have their colors there, like the icons and the other things. They are in red, but I can say the red does not take up to 40, more than 40% of the colors in that in their interface, because you can't just have all red in all places. And the kind of red they are using, it's a shade, not entirely sharp red like um the one on Google Meet here now. So if you notice your Google Meet, there are only two buttons on red. Your cut, like to leave the core, and when you turn off your camera and your mic. So you feel the red, but it's not as much as the black. You get it. So if you notice, mobile apps, application, and websites are drawing towards minimalism. And so that's how we have two interface in our app. We have the dark mode and the light mode, as well as the brand colors of whoever owns the website and application. So yeah, you can use your colors. You can use your agency colors, the bank color, the platform colors, but be considerate on when using the colors. Any other question? All right, Emmanuel. Hello, Emmanuel.
Can you guys hear me? Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that came up online. I know that tonight has been a blessing to you guys, and we were able to gain something. I want to also say thank you to my team, the creative director team, Osbert, Max. Max helped me to reach out to our speaker tonight, and also Osbert helped me to reach out to our speaker tonight. And because of my movements, it was very unpredictable today. And thank you so much, guys. Without you guys, we cannot succeed in our mission and our goal. The guy that spoke tonight, Jeremy. I don't know if Jeremy is still online, but he's a real veteran in this game because I met him back then in 2011. In 2011, when we were doing our diploma, back at NIT. So it's been a very long road, between both of us, and he has always been passionate about web design and programming, and you know funny enough, he was one of the people who he was one of the people who encouraged me to do design. I remember back then when we had when we were doing software development then, and we were in a team. I was the one who was, in charge of creating the interfaces for the software application. So right from that moment, that's when I knew that, man, programming of my team, not just fix graphics. So he's been into this game for a really long time in our old meet. You get. So these are the type of people that you would love to have mentorship with. So if anyone would like to, relate with him one on one for more mentorship or guidance or stuff like that, of course you can just beat me. I'll give you his contact. I'll introduce you guys to him, one on one, and he's also on the platform too. So I also want to use this medium to encourage you guys. TCD is not just for graphics alone. Everything digitally creative is welcome. You get. So don't hold your knowledge. If I decided to hold my knowledge, then TCD would not exist. So I just want to encourage you guys not to hold your knowledge. Don't allow one person or two people to just keep contributing every day. Because there's a principle. The scripture says that he that watereth shall be watered. You get. So as you give out, you get. It's natural. It's a natural order. So I encourage you to continue to share your knowledge, share your skill set, share your experience, share your expertise, share what you are learning. Try and see what other people are also learning. Try and see what other people are also getting too. You get. So because as you share it, other people too will also comment their own experience, and you also learn from them too. So thank you guys for coming up. Thank you guys for coming up. If there are further reactions, we can't take them now, but sure, do well to drop them on the group chat. If tonight's session was really something that you enjoyed, please do well to drop a comment on the group chat. Drop a reaction. Thank the speaker on the group chat because he will see it. So also do well to comment and thank the speaker on the group chat too. I'm grateful for you guys coming out tonight. Thank you very much. Also to my team too, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. God bless you. Possibly I would need to go back and listen to this session again because I couldn't really flow very well because of my network and because of the activities surrounding me. Sorry, Oscar, please, was this session recorded?
Yes, it was.
Okay, okay, amazing, great, great, great. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. And till our next session, of course, we'll update you on our next session. Until our next session, please continue to take your daily dose of the creative diet. We're signing out right now. Good night, guys.
Yeah, I'll upload the recording and share to you guys.
Thank you very much, Osbe. Thank you so much.